All right, everyone. Today we're finally talking about one of the topics so many of you have been asking for. And honestly, one I personally wanted to cover because it's one of the most disturbing and controversial subjects out there. Today's topic is Vita Carnis, also known as the analog horror series Vita Carnis. It's a collection of videos published on a channel by Darian Quilloy. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And let me tell you, I genuinely took my time with this one. This is a heavy video. The subject is deep, unsettling, and incredibly intriguing. It may not be for everyone. You'll need to give it your full attention. Find a quiet place. Grab something warm to drink. Put on your headphones. Let's begin. The story starts with a leaked documentary tape from the National Living Meat Research Center. This material is classified as restricted. Authorities strictly monitor its circulation, and possession or viewing without authorization can result in prison time and massive fines. That level of secrecy suggests what's inside isn't just ordinary scientific research. It hints at a truth the government is trying to keep under control. According to the documentary, Earth once existed in a known state of natural balance. For thousands of years, every organism adapted to its environment. But that stability ended in 1931. That was the year a new form of life suddenly appeared, triggering a major ecological disruption. At first, speculation spread rapidly. Were these creatures extraterrestrial, or were they a natural phenomenon humanity had simply never discovered before? To answer those questions, they had to be studied carefully. The National Living Meat Research Center was among the first to step forward. The results the scientists announced were baffling. They confirmed that these entities were entirely terrestrial. Their native origin was Earth itself, yet there was no clear explanation for why they emerged so suddenly at that time. Anatomically, these organisms are composed of exposed muscle tissue, organs, and visible bone structures. They closely resemble raw, skinned meat. Because of these unique biological traits, they were classified under the name Vita Carnis, a Latin term that literally translates to living flesh or the life of meat. Several species emerged under this classification, but before discussing any of them, we must begin with the most fundamental organism in the entire lineage, the crawl. It is considered the root organism of the Vita Carnis family. All other species descend from it, and you'll soon understand why. At first glance, the crawl looks like extended plant roots, but closer inspection reveals a complex biological structure. It consists of red muscle fibers with vein-like channels running through it, responsible for transporting nutrients with remarkable efficiency. What's truly astonishing is its ability to grow across nearly any surface. Vegetation, decay, fungal growth. This organism strangely combines traits of both plant and animal life. It possesses fine hair-like filaments that absorb sunlight and use it for growth, just like trees. Because of its extreme adaptability to any climate, the crawl spread across every corner of the planet. The strangest part, however, is its life cycle. When it dies and decomposes, it transforms into a powerful nutrient-rich substance consumed by plants. Animals then eat those plants, and eventually the crawl re-emerges through animal waste. It is a continuous loop, an endless cycle, as if it refuses to die. Humans quickly recognized an opportunity. Because it grows rapidly and is rich in nutrients, it began to be cultivated on massive farms as fertilizer. Some people even consume it as food, despite its strange taste and raw meat appearance, which makes it unpopular in cooking. But the crawl is not merely silent tissue. It is in fact the progenitor, the origin of all other creatures in this series. Sometimes, fleshy fruit-like growths develop along it. When these growths ripen and fall to the ground, they transform into new organisms capable of movement. The smallest and most widespread of these is called Trimmings. Trimmings resemble something like a skinned raccoon. They have round, plump bodies, small heads with narrow eyes, and a wide mouth somewhat resembling that of a turtle. They possess multiple limbs that help them move. Interestingly, no two trimmings look exactly alike. Each one has distinct physical variations. They remain small, rarely exceeding 20 centimeters in length. A trimming's life begins the moment it drops from one of the crawl's fleshy growths. It immediately begins searching for food to survive. Although it can eat nearly anything, it prefers plants and decaying meat. Despite their unsettling appearance, trimmings are extremely cowardly. They have no means of self-defense and hide at the slightest sign of danger, making them easy prey for predators. Since the crawl produces them continuously and in enormous numbers, they are found all over the world. They mature quickly, within just 7 months. However, their lifespan is short, typically between 2 to 4 years at most. As for humans, our relationship with trimmings is somewhat complicated. Many consider them pests due to their loud noises and constant scavenging through trash bins, causing disorder. On the other hand, some people are fascinated by their strangeness and choose to keep them as pets. Whether you see them as annoying or oddly endearing, trimmings remain an inseparable part of this new ecosystem. Now we move to a far stranger organism within the Carnis family, the meat snake. This creature resembles a giant worm composed of layered muscle tissue, covered by a transparent membrane that looks almost like gelatin. What makes it particularly intriguing is that its size is not fixed. It depends entirely on how much it consumes. It begins life only a few centimeters long, reaching an average of 5 meters. However, during times of disaster, wars, or pandemics, it can grow far larger. The reason is simple: it feeds exclusively on corpses. It feeds exclusively on corpses. It never attacks a healthy living creature. The meat snake possesses a specialized tongue lined with highly sensitive receptors, allowing it to detect the location of bodies. Much like a regular snake, once it finds a meal, it unhinges its jaws in a disturbing motion reminiscent of an anaconda and swallows the corpse whole. Its stomach then begins secreting extremely powerful enzymes that break down flesh and soft tissue, while expelling indigestible materials such as hair, nails, and bones. Strangely, it sometimes preserves the skull of its victim and places it inside its own head. This results in noticeable variations in head shape from one meat snake to another. Depending on the skull it carries, the creature is highly resistant to disease due to the potent chemicals within its body. There are no known predators willing to attack it. The only ways it can die are starvation, burning, or severe damage to its outer membrane. As for reproduction, it is the only species in the Vita Carnis lineage that reproduces asexually through division. When conditions are favorable, the meat snake splits into 2 equal halves. Despite its unsettling appearance, humans have successfully domesticated it and found surprisingly practical uses for it. It serves as an efficient method of disposing of corpses and spoiled meat, as the chemicals within its body neutralize decay and eliminate disease entirely. For that reason, it is often found in large butcher shops, livestock farms disposing of dead animals, and even on battlefields, clearing the remains of war. Meat snakes are generally docile creatures. They do not display aggressive behavior unless disturbed while feeding. They live wherever death is present and thrive in temperate climates, functioning as a kind of biological purifier for the world. If the previous organisms served as environmental cleaners or timid scavengers, the next entity is humanity's true nightmare, the mimic. This creature is not merely a predator. It is something closer to a shadow stalking humanity. The mimic resembles a human in a deeply unsettling way. It walks upright on two legs, but it has no skin, no clearly defined facial features. Its limbs are elongated, its fingers thin and unnatural. Its eyes bulge outward, and its mouth stretches wide in a permanent, horrifying grin filled with sharp teeth. These teeth, more numerous than a human's, are designed to tear through human flesh at incredible speed, which explains its exclusive diet, human meat. For this reason, mimics are found only in populated areas. The mimic undergoes 3 stages of growth. It begins life as a small larval form that separates from the crawl, much like Trimmings, but leaner and more agile, capable of moving on all 4s. At this stage, it hunts small animals. As it grows larger, so do its prey. When it matures further, it enters its 2nd stage, specializing in hunting humans. The mimic is not simply a brute predator relying on strength. It is highly intelligent. It observes its prey patiently, studies daily routines, and typically attacks when the victim is asleep or at their most vulnerable. It is an expert at concealment. You may see it disguised as hanging clothes, a mannequin, or even an ordinary piece of furniture inside your own home. It may lure victims by imitating human voices or knocking on doors. It may even use intimidation tactics to force a victim into a corner before striking. The 3rd stage of mimic development is the most dangerous. At this point, it evolves into one of 2 forms: the assimilated mimic. If it consumes a sufficient number of humans, it develops skin and hair, becoming nearly indistinguishable from a real person. It blends into society to hunt more easily. The elder mimic. If it consumes excessive amounts of human flesh, it grows taller and loses its human resemblance entirely. It develops thick, dark, elastic skin, becoming a perfected killing organism. Its face becomes covered in pale pink skin, while its terrifying teeth retract deeper into its throat. Its dark skin allows it to blend seamlessly into shadows, making it one of the most dangerous predators on Earth. According to the documentary, governments have issued strict guidelines to protect citizens. Do not travel alone, especially in areas known for mimic activity. If you see one and it has not seen you, leave immediately and report it to authorities. If it begins pursuing you, remain calm and have an escape plan. Mimics rarely attack someone who clearly has a path to flee. If cornered, curl inward and protect your neck, face, and vital organs. Scream loudly to alert others nearby. Firearms are largely ineffective. Do not rely on guns or bladed weapons to stop it. Mimics are extremely strong, and bullets will not incapacitate them quickly enough. Use a weapon only as a temporary barrier to gain time. Effective hiding means concealing yourself in low spaces, under a bed, or behind furniture, making the area appear empty so it may leave on its own. If you believe monsters are the only things hunting you, then what is known as the harvester will change your mind. This organism is the largest living trap on Earth. It consists of a swollen mass of flesh, standing approximately 3 meters tall, but the true horror is not its height. It lies in its reach. The harvester spreads massive spiked tendrils beneath the soil, extending up to 150 meters. It relies on 2 types of tendrils. Surface tendrils are flat, heavy structures lined with spikes resembling bear traps. The moment a large animal steps on one, the spikes violently impale the victim and inject 2 types of venom. The first toxin causes immediate paralysis of the nervous system. The second prevents blood clotting, causing the victim to bleed uncontrollably. While unable to move, Absorption tendrils then activate. These tendrils are sensitive to the scent of blood. They move toward the immobilized prey and begin extracting its bodily fluids. Once finished, the tendrils coil around the corpse and slowly drag it underground to be fully digested. What's particularly disturbing is how it turns its surroundings into bait. The underground digestion process enriches the soil with organic material, causing dense, vibrant vegetation to grow. This attracts herbivores and, in turn, large predators. Interestingly, the harvester only targets large animals, perhaps to conserve energy, or perhaps to allow smaller animals to live nearby, drawing larger predators into its trap. The harvester is rare and is most commonly found in the northern hemisphere. So your survival depends entirely on awareness. If you find yourself in a forest that's unusually lush and dense, almost unnaturally green, yet strangely absent of large animal life, that's likely harvester territory. If the creature realizes you're standing on its ground, the worst thing you can do is run or make sudden movements. That will immediately trigger the spiked tendrils. The only viable solution is distraction. Throw something heavy far away from your position to redirect the tendrils' attention. Then, slowly and calmly move toward rocky terrain or large trees. Now, we move to one of the most unpredictable entities in the Carnis family, the host. It earned that name because it doesn't chase its prey, it invites them. The host's upper body resembles a tall, extremely thin humanoid figure, somewhat reminiscent of Slender Man. Its mouth is a long vertical slit stretching from its face down towards its neck. The lower half of its body consists of thick root-like masses and fleshy fibers anchoring it firmly into the ground. But the true power of the host lies in its back. It contains specialized spines that release a pollen-like substance into the air. This airborne agent is the most dangerous hunting method in the entire series. The host exists exclusively in North America, and because approaching it is incredibly dangerous, reliable information about it is rare. When colder seasons reduce human activity nearby, the host releases clouds of this airborne agent. The wind carries it across long distances, even into people's homes. The moment a living being inhales it, the nervous system is affected almost instantly. What's strange is that symptoms don't appear right away. After about an hour, the victim experiences fatigue, insomnia, and slowed movement. As time passes, the condition worsens, escalating into severe headaches, slurred speech, and body tremors. 6 hours after exposure, the victim completely loses their will. They stop whatever they're doing and begin walking unconsciously toward the host that released the spores. Upon arrival, the victim kneels willingly before it, almost ritualistically, exposing their vital organs. The host then removes them and consumes them immediately. However, there is one chance of survival. If the infected individual cannot reach the host within approximately 36 hours, the effects begin to gradually reverse and the person may fully recover. Although the host appears rooted like a tree, it can actually uproot its fleshy roots and relocate if it no longer finds enough victims in its current area. We've seen how the Carnis organisms reshaped the world, but there's another chapter in this story, one even more mysterious, a completely new type of entity. It first appeared in June of 1922. They were called the monoliths. Suspiciously, the documentary redacted the exact location of their first appearance, as if something about that area remains highly classified. Only 7 of these colossal entities are known to exist. They stand in a circular formation, spanning roughly 1.5 kilometers in diameter. Each monolith rises approximately 120 meters tall. Their bodies consist of massive, tightly interwoven fleshy fibers. Two enormous leg-like structures anchor them deep into the earth. Their heads are the most solid part, shaped like inverted cones with an opening at the center. They possess countless rope-like tendrils. The only confirmed behavior of the monoliths is that they remain completely still, as if guarding something. But when the documentary attempted to explain their single recorded active event, the footage abruptly cut to static. When the signal returned, it described extreme aggression. One of the monoliths emitted a deep resonating sound. Then it lashed out with its tendrils toward an exploration team, completely destroying them. Military vehicles were later deployed. In response, the monolith released a massive electromagnetic pulse, disabling every vehicle instantly. Long-range missiles were then launched at one of the giants. At that moment, the footage cut to static again. When the video resumed, it suggested that the targeted monolith had regenerated rapidly, as if nothing had happened. The area was permanently fenced off, and since then, the monoliths have stood motionless within that perimeter, silent, imposing, as if guarding a secret still unknown. If the previous organisms shocked us with their biological and fleshy nature, the final entity in the Carnis lineage breaks every rule we've learned. It is called the Singularity. This is the most heavily classified organism of them all. The Singularity doesn't resemble flesh or fiber. It appears as a dark metallic sphere, roughly 1 meter in diameter. At its center lies a dim, glowing core. This entity possesses abilities that seem to defy physics. It is often observed floating motionless in mid-air, as if gravity itself does not apply to it. There is no confirmed data regarding how many exist, nor is there any explanation of its purpose within this bizarre ecosystem. All research, images, and reports related to the Singularity have either been sealed or confiscated by high-level authorities. The presence of a metallic entity within a lineage defined by flesh raises a terrifying question. Are these organisms truly natural, or are they something else entirely? Everything we discuss today represents only the first chapter of the Vita Carnis series. What unfolds later in the story becomes even darker, deeper, and more surreal. When I originally wrote this video, it was intended to be nearly an hour long, just for part 1, but since this topic required so much time and research, I'll stop here for now. I didn't want to overwhelm you, and honestly, I don't even know if you're ready for what comes next.